can fit in. Okay. All right, where's my agenda? Let's see. Yeah, Joel can slide in if he shows up. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the special meeting of the Truckee-Donner Public Utility District. It is 6:02, Wednesday, July 17th. Oh, there we go. Brian's going to do roll call. Or Sarah can. Yeah.
Director Harris? Here. Director Laliotis?
Here.
Vice President Finn?
Here.
President Bender?
Here.
The record will note Director Aguirre is absent.
All right. Right, I'm going to skip the pledge and go straight. We got a nice packed meeting with a good closed session. So changes to the agenda. Mr. Wright.
There are no changes this evening.
Okay, number 5, public comment. Any public comment about any matter not on the agenda tonight? Oh. We've got one.
Isn't that great? Member of the public. My name is Courtney Morrell. I'm a 20-plus year resident here, full-time resident in Truckee. I am here because I attended one of the community outreach programs last night from the PUD, and that is the induction cooking. And it was sponsored and put on, organized and promoted and executed by the conservation, department here, as well as communications, and it was terrific. I mean, it was clever and creative and a way to introduce the induction cooking and then the promotion of the rebates that the PUD does for people who are switching out from their electric cooktops. I did learn that it's not for new builds, by the way. You don't get the rebate for a new build, but for existing appliances. And it was just clever. And I've attended a number of these meetings in the community outreach that the PUD is trying to do and collaborate with different organizations within Truckee. There was the collaboration with the Green to Go food containers, and I didn't even know about that in town, but some of the local restaurants and the PUD was promoting that, some of the local restaurants, to minimize disposable waste. So I just wanted to say I attended it. It was well received. They're looking at doing more in the future. The community was really in favor of it, and it was a really fun event for community members to come together and for the PUD and to see a PUD in a fun, creative light. So I just want to give kudos to that. The two teams worked together on that.
Awesome, thank you. All right. Any other public comment not on the agenda? You're not stepping up, Mike, Tony, to the mic? All right. Yeah,
Easier that way.
Okay. All right, on to director update. Anything on this side? I know, I've been starting with you, Kim, so we'll end with you.
We'll break out of the mold here.
Yeah, we're mixing it up a little bit.
Right. Happy summer, everyone. My director's comment is an update on our latest CTA happenings. We had CTA is the Climate Transformation Alliance, of which we are founding and governing partners. We had a meeting last Friday, and I was really gratified to see representation from the school district and the hospital district, who have not yet signed our charter, but would be extremely welcome into that group. And we had a chance to hear the plans that they have, their sustainability plans and carbon reduction plans. And I would like to reiterate at this meeting that we are, at the PUD, always willing to support them in any way that we can. Fleet decarbonization springs to mind. This is issues that we're all dealing with right now with our new CARB mandates that have come down. The ski resorts also presented on their decarbonization efforts, talk about an industry that is going to be hard to tackle. very dependent on fossil fuels, very dependent on a functional climate. So they are definitely where the rubber is hitting the road. They admitted to a lot of challenges, but Palisades has transferred their entire fleet over to renewable biofuels, including, their groomers, their snowmobiles, the whole thing, which I thought was pretty amazing. Granted, the burning of that biofuel in the moment has just as many emissions as any other diesel. It is bioidentical, but over the course of the lifetime of biofuels, growing them versus mining them, refining them, et cetera, is about a 75% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. So that's progress is what that is. All of the resorts are keeping a close eye on North Star and its biomass plant and plan and that timeline and how that is working out. The timeline has been extended because they had the opportunity to upgrade the combustor to a more efficient model. So technology and this, Mike was super excited, the new one that they're now installing is zero particulate emissions. Zero. So things are getting better and even like 90% of all other greenhouse gases. So it's really an exciting upgrade that lengthened the timeline a little bit, so they expect it to come online in the 25-26 ski season before that. So all of the resorts are watching that closely because we all have the same problems with our biomass and our fire danger, and the Royal Fire put that front and center for Sugar Bowl, a couple weeks ago. So I think that is my director update of doings that the PUD has been involved in the past 6 weeks. So thank you very much, y'all. Thanks for coming.
Excellent. Joe, any director updates tonight? You're here, thanks.
I got something, and so, no, I have no input from anything. It's just been kind of laying low.
Got it.
Thank you, President.
All right. Tony, any updates?
No, I just want to give a shout out to Forest Service, CAL FIRE, everyone involved in the suppression of the Royal Fire. People felt like they weren't getting enough communications because it was so close, and it was close, but I think the response was tremendous from county, CAL FIRE, U.S. Forest Service, everyone involved in that. And one thing that struck me during that time, as I was pretty much over the direct flight path of every helicopter going back and forth to Truckee Airport, I wanted to remind our public of how valuable the airport is to this community, and what a resource it has been in the past and what a resource it was during the Royal Fire. And, just to consider, I know that CAL FIRE put a Type 1 helicopter at the airport for the summer. That's encouraging. I encourage the public to continue to look at, different things that the airport district can do for this community with their tax dollars, and is certainly helping bolster our fire suppression capabilities during the summer is something that I would support. But I know it's a little off topic for Truckee Donner PUD, but it is a community and political topic that I think should be talked about more and more. But once again, thanks to all the resources involved in that fire and protecting our community, because we were pretty much in the line of fire, if no pun intended, if the winds had picked up in the prevailing direction.
For sure.
So, thank you.
Real quick, can I just hop in on that one thing and plug the airport for another awesome thing? They are the first airport in the nation to move to 100% renewable jet fuel, 100%. That's freaking amazing. That's amazing. And it's first in the nation, maybe first in the world. Ooh. Could you believe it? Little Truckee.
Tony,
Awesome.
I missed the first part of your presentation. Now, what fire was this?
The Royal Fire. Yeah, the one up here.
Is it out? I haven't got it.
I think it's almost fully contained, but they've stopped reporting on it, so.
They what?
They've stopped updating it, so but I think it's pretty much close to fully contained.
I heard it was down in the Cedars.
Pretty close,
You
yeah.
got that helicopter down into the Cedar Canyon?
Tony flew it.
Oh, you did?
No.
Oh, good deal.
Yes,
Let's see what you control then.
they were pulling water out of Long Lake, I heard, is what, with those helicopters, so.
It's out then. It's contained.
Almost.
Oh, good.
Getting
All right,
close.
Tim, you've
Thank you.
got the floor.
Yes. To kind of piggyback on with what Tony was saying, yes, thank you to all of our emergency agencies, which is always a wake-up call and a good reminder for our agency to have their emergency services finely tuned and ready to go. So I do see the trucks out and about, which is always good. So thank you to everybody who's involved with that. And, you know, I always like to take this opportunity to thank all of our employees for keeping the lights on and the water flowing for all of our customers. I was also very pleasantly surprised to see the entry in the 4th of July parade. So it was fun to watch everybody, you know, coming down through town and cheering everybody on. So thanks to all the employees, because I know that takes a lot of effort. And that also, you also have to give up your 4th of July morning to commit to doing the parade. So thanks for doing that.
Great. Awesome. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, department updates.
We have a handful of them for you this evening. Yeah, it is. A lot of photos in this update. Mike, you had the PowerPoint last. You must have put a lot of photos in there. I apologize for the delay here. All right. All right, we'll start off with some water department updates. Our water utility director, Chad Reed, is out this evening, so we have Neil Kaufman stepping in to give some project updates. Before Neil starts with the project update, this was in the staff report, but just a quick visual on where we are for 2024 in our water production compared to last year and the last 3-year average. So you saw this time last year, in 2023, our water production was a lot further down compared to this year because we had some cooler weather and a lot of moisture up until this point in 2023. This year, we're back to closer water production rates as our 3-year average and kind of historical going into the summer without having any real measurable changes in temperatures. We're expecting that outdoor irrigation to continue to ramp up, and typically we see anywhere between 2.5 to 3 times the water production in the summer months as we do in the winter months, and that's really outdoor irrigation driven, and so you're starting to see that realign with typical average trends there. I'll hand it over to Neil with some of the project updates that we have.
All right, well, as you can see here, we'll lead off with the ski run tank. That is current conditions. The foundation has been poured and all of the underground piping work has been completed. We expect the contractor to move back in next week to start with installation of the steel, and that project is pretty much right on schedule. 6170 tank. We're going to be doing a site punch list inspection, ideally tomorrow or Friday, get that done. The contractor will be coming in next week to take care of any of those punch list items. They've got a little exterior paint work to touch up on, and we'll be starting the disinfection process on this tank. And ideally, we'll have it online probably first week of August. Begin putting water into that. Pipeline replacement. We'll start with last year's projects that carried over. The 2023 Contract A is complete. That is on the agenda this evening for final acceptance. The Contract B from 2023, which is the work on Upper Ski Slope Way, that new pipe has passed the pressure test and disinfection process. We are currently converting customers over from the old pipe to the new one. And again, we're looking at the next couple of weeks, ideally finishing that project up. For this year's pipeline construction project on Northwoods Boulevard, again, we've got a good chunk of that has passed the pressure testing and disinfection process, and we'll be we're anticipating completion of the segment that we're on right now, which is Northwoods between Slalom and Fjord. Should have that done about the end of the month, and then we'll be moving on down Northwoods a little bit towards Hillside Drive and starting in that area. One other outstanding project is the Pioneer Trail Pump Station. And we've got our pumps back in the building. We're going to be restarting the acceptance testing for the pumps in that project. And again, a couple of weeks there. There's some definite punch list items that need to be addressed, but beginning of August, we're hoping to bring that facility online as well. I guess those last two things, I'll be honest, I'm not completely up to speed on. If you
I'll
want
provide
to
a
touch
couple
on
of it.
that.
So one of the things the water utility had to take on this year, or over the last several months, the EPA revised the lead and copper rule. This is really some continuing revisions to legislation or regulatory requirements that came out of the Flint, Michigan challenges several years back. And so urban water suppliers have had to go back and do some reassessment and inspections to ensure that there are no district-owned lead pipe materials in our distribution system. And so previously, it was kind of just an attestation saying that we looked through our records, there's no lead plumbing fixtures or risk to our community. They've upped that, and now certain pipelines without physical record or constructed before a specific date had to have actual physical inspection. So our staff has completed that inspection and inventory. Again, the district doesn't have infrastructure, pipeline, service material that contains lead material. If you recall, the Flint, Michigan challenge was the water characteristics of the water were aggressive that caused lead and some other constituents to leach out of plumbing and cause some health issues for their customers. The district does not have that risk. We do not have either the aggressive water or the lead content in our material that we had in Flint, Michigan. So good news is we don't have any challenges to address there. It did take some staff time and a lot of labor to do the final surveys, but we're glad to report that that's been completed. The master metering project, our staff continues to identify key locations across our distribution system to install meters to better track where our water is distributed, and so we can kind of do a mass balance analysis and more accurately kind of determine where water loss may occur in our system so that we can either make repairs to those water mains or make adjustments and replacements of our customer endpoint meters so that our audits are more accurate. We have more accurate and valid data in our annual water loss audits. And that's it with the water utility. Next, we have the electric utility.
Good evening, President Bender, members of the board. So we had a pretty busy last few weeks. But so generally speaking here, a quick overview of our performance of things. So the Truckee sub in downtown Truckee was offline due to non-construction work, not our work, those around us. So we had to switch our system around to feed it from the other substations for the entire month. Once that was completed, we went ahead and put our system into non-reclose mode, or one shot, we often call it here, which is a way of reducing the wildfire potential risk from a fire starting from one of our lines. So they're in that right now. One thing of note is in June, at the UM's conference, we found that the Pacific Corps, they did a rate increase in the transmission system of 40%. Usually 5% per year is kind of what you're used to, so that big jump certainly doesn't feel good. And I put the visual there because for Pacific Corps, that's where the majority of our investment in generators, Nebo and Horse Butte Wind and Red Mesa Solar, that's where they're physically located, connected into the Pacific Corps system. So the cost is to get the power out of that system into the NV system, then to go over to us. So we are prepared for a rate increase from NV Energy in the near future, not this year, maybe next year, maybe definitely the year after that. So this one caught all of us a little bit by surprise. Budgetary-wise, we have some other things in there that we've been successful at saving some cost. So this probably won't have any rate increase right away. We won't really know for sure for a few more months, but probably not right away. Next slide, please. So for kind of some general power updates, kind of looked at our sources from May. In the chart there, and basically you can kind of see the majority of our power supply came from non-carbon emitting sources, wind being the biggest. Frankly, I'll tell you the undisclosed one, that's probably mostly solar, frankly, but it isn't tied to anything, so you don't know, it's undefined, undisclosed, you don't know where it comes from. But in how California's overall energy was moving through and the West was moving through, it's probably mostly solar, frankly. But overall, as you can see, most of our sources were really non-carbon emitting sources, which is nice to see, of course. One thing that was an interesting thing of note similar to the water department of their usage, we are seeing year to year, May to May, that we are seeing less energy draw, kilowatt hours, but we're still seeing a very similar KW draw in what was a very peaking year last year. A simple explanation behind why the KW stays high is like an EV car charger is a great example of what keeps KW up but doesn't draw much energy, just big spike in demand. Something that definitely we have to keep an eye on track, and always keep in mind you're kind of designing your system around peak KW, not KWH. So it's just a point of note that we keep tracking. So for the recent outages, we had a couple of larger ones in the past few weeks. So on 6/28, there was a transmission outage on the PG&E system that actually affected our system. There was due to the Royal Fire and some other things going on, there was a lot of switching where the power was moving in and out of our territory from between Nevada and California and us in between. So that outage up there did cause an outage down here up by Summit. And that was about 4,000 customers affected for about 75 minutes. On 7/5, Marsh Valley, we lost a feeder, took out about 120 customers for about an hour. We don't know what caused it. Probably because we were in one shot, a little more sensitive system, probably. We do always keep looking and try to find out how to mitigate that one, because that one's happened before too without a real reason. So, but we keep looking for an answer to make some changes to reduce it in the future. On 7/9, there was a vehicle ran into an NV Energy pole. It's actually a transmission pole, but we actually had some underbuilt primary underneath it, so it damaged their stuff and our stuff, caused another outage in the Tahoe Donner and Donner Lake customers that went from anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour. Really depended on where you were. There's a few things that happened all at once. And then on 7/12, there was another one that affected Donner Lake and Tahoe Donner. It was an animal, a squirrel, and for reference, we kind of took our cameras and froze that fraction of a second of an image that you see where it did kind of spark up a bit there. The crew was there quick, everything was contained, and everything was fine. Yeah, no, the squirrel's fine. He's fine. But it is always a reminder of why we design our system certain ways and why we're in reclosed mode and whatnot too. So, but that's our outage updates.
Next, we have Human Resources. Thank you, Jared.
Good evening. We are going to start with welcoming some new members to our team. Adrian Zarate returned for his second season as a seasonal water helper in late June. And then we filled our new position to the district, the Management Analyst 1 position, with Mark Costa in the beginning of July. So we wanted to welcome them to the team. And then a congratulation goes to Carlos Reyes, who was recently promoted from customer service representative to warehouse utility worker. Next up is our core value recognition winners for June. So first we have Scott Botten, who is our risk and compliance specialist. About a year ago, Scott began to take on the challenge of updating and enhancing the district's emergency response plans to better align with local, state, and federal agencies. This was kind of out of Scott's wheelhouse and expertise, but he jumped right in working with emergency response experts, attending multiple intense, multiple day and in-depth trainings on the topic, and researching also the best training for our staff. He's demonstrated a high level of accountability to this project and to the district's preparedness for emergency response. Alex Spihalski. Alex was recognized as someone, a communications specialist. You all met Alex. She was recognized for work-life balance as someone who always has a smile on her face and always has time to connect with her coworkers, even when she's super busy. She was acknowledged for always having something fun going on outside of work and sharing those experiences, and then also bringing them back here to our team as the team manager for our softball team. And she's also organized a ski day this past winter with coworkers and recently a mountain bike ride. And she's really been a great part of bringing different departments and kind of different groups together outside of work. So thanks, Alex. And last, we have Forrest Heston, who's a journeyman lineman for integrity. Forrest is being recognized by his peers for his integrity. The team really appreciates that they can count on Forrest to be available for overtime and always being a team player. He plays a huge role in keeping workflow moving and has been an important asset when dealing with the recent Carver's pole incidents. Forrest is always positive and helpful with the apprentices. He's consistently helpful, hardworking, and his positive attitude exemplifies a team player and with high integrity. We appreciate what you do and contribute to the district. Next slides. These are event recaps. We've done a lot in June and July. They've been really busy with some fun events, so we wanted to share them. This event here was in early June. We combined our birthday and anniversary monthly celebrations into a staff barbecue to also kind of celebrate and unveil our refreshed break room. So this is right off the backside of our break room and in the conservation garden, and just got together for an hour and had some burgers. On the left side there, the summer solstice walk, we invited the team to join us to celebrate the summer solstice with a walk around the block at noon for about 15 minutes. This is one group, we kind of separated a little bit, but there's about 15 employees came out and joined us. And then on the right hand there is the Reno Aces game that we attended in late June with our families. Were invited to join us as well. And last up is the 4th of July parade, which we were really proud of this year. The theme, the general theme of the parade was Throwback Thursday. So what we did as the district was added a Back to Future theme. So we had, you can see there kind of a banner tying TDPUD to Back to Future in the font. And then we had a clock tower made out of balloons. We had a flux capacitor. We had a cardboard DeLorean. We have the cast members from the movie up there all in costume. And then we transitioned into the future with having some e-bike riders and then our EV vehicles there to wrap up our section of the parade. So we were really excited and proud of it. Got a lot of great shout outs. Thought we might take the gold and win the overall parade. And we got kind of honorable mention and a highlight called out in the Sierra Sun. So close. Next year maybe. And that is it. Thank you.
Good evening, Board. Mike Selman, CFO. So in accounting and finance, stay tuned August 7th. Don't miss that board meeting. It's going to be a good one. We got a first half of 2024 financial update in accordance with district code, and so that should be an exciting presentation. Look forward to it. We also will be presenting the power cost adjustment for Q2. We're currently active with the Q1 power cost adjustment, which was a credit of 0.0088 cents per kilowatt hour. About $7 to 8 cents, or sorry, $7 to $8 credit per month for an average bill. In facilities, I'm sure you saw the construction wall as you came in this evening. We've started the East Wing remodel with a demo, which goes really fast, and now we're in that phase that's just kind of plugging along, but it is on schedule, and things have gone great so far. Very pleased with the contractor and excited about the outcome. As you know, I believe it was early June, the board approved the stucco repair and improvement project for the exterior of this building. This is a before and after. On the left is obviously before, and on the right is after. This project is substantially complete, and we're very, very pleased with the contractor and the outcome of this product as well. We did actually ended up doing all 4 sides of the stucco in various levels. The west side, this side here, needed the most extensive repair, where they had to dig out that lower half of the stucco all the way down to the studs. It's another view of the west side. Then lastly, as a member mentioned earlier, stole my thunder, we had the induction cooktop event last evening, and it was a good success from what I hear. We had approximately 24 participants for an inaugural event, and that's pretty awesome. And everyone provided very good feedback for it, and this is, again, part of the electrification and kind of tamping down the fears of losing natural gas and having to go to an electric cooktop, and heaven forbid. And so this is kind of introducing people that induction cooktop cooking can be an exciting prospect. So this was held at the lift over by the airport. Yes. And there will be there's more events coming in the next few months. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to give special thanks to Linda Pendleton and Stephen Keats, who really spearheaded that program. As I understand it, there were 24 spots. We had over 35 applicants to participate, so we're planning on scheduling more of those events. Jan Olin with the lift has also been supportive of using their facility. I think we're also planning some other presentations in different subdivisions. So great success. We got a lot of feedback, and I've received some calls looking for the PUD to help with creating a induction top library for people to borrow or rent for periods of time, so they can use them as demonstrations and work towards electrification of kitchen utilities. So great success there. Thank you, Mike. For communications and strategic affairs, as Jillian mentioned, Alex Bialski is our Thunderstorm softball team head coach, so she's out there right now with the team trying to manage that team to a victory over, I think, the Blue Coyote is who they're playing this evening. And so that's a formidable opponent, but she's out there getting the team in their best shape. So I will step in. Mr. Poncelet's right now on a fire panel, a committee, wildfire mitigation panel with the NCPA legislative tour out in Portola, and he was asked to participate on that. We've been active working with the NCPA team, CMUA, and some of our other advocacy groups and partners out there, helping our local legislators and regulatory bodies understand some of the challenges we have as public utilities and wildfire mitigation. So I will step in on their behalf on a couple of updates. They've been extremely busy over the last month. You see on the left-hand side here, social media, been a recent campaign trying to help our residents, community, our customers better understand not only that we're in one-shot operations, this single-trip recloser, non-recloser formation, but what that means for wildfire mitigation and what it means in terms of their impact on their service. So Alex has been working on a social media campaign to help provide more information there. The middle column there is an update on some of the publications that the PUD has popped up in. Our public power APPA membership has put the PUD in some of the spotlights with adopting our annual wildfire mitigation plan. As you recall, the board approved the wildfire mitigation plan update that was due by July 1st of this year. And so that made the APPA's public power publication. Also a piece on, Jared provided an editorial or comments on resource adequacy and some of the challenges that public utilities in the West face moving forward. And then Moonshine Inc. asked the district to give some input and insight on how to strategies for reducing energy costs and staying cooler in the summer with your kind of climate management in your own home. Off to the right, we've also had a campaign talking about your money at work and for our public to understand what your rates are going towards. And so our pole replacement programs, some of our pump station projects and tank projects that Neil mentioned earlier, and an update and education on our wildfire mitigation plan moving forward. The district participated in Tahoe Donner. I believe it was referred to as a Tahoe Donner Member Expo, another opportunity for our staff to engage with the community, provide some education and insight for summer wildfire prevention and some of our conservation efforts. We've had 2 comments already now, both Mike's presentation and public comment on the induction cooktop workshop. It was very successful. Again, we plan on continuing that effort. As Mike mentioned, that there is a little bit of apprehension or concern about the quality of cooking without a conventional gas top stove. And so what that looks like with an induction stovetop, giving some education, some training, and some classes on what that cooking looks like has been extremely well received by the community. Also, opportunity to talk about our rebate and weatherization programs, really important for our community for both winter and summer weatherization rebates. In the end of June, on June 19th, we participated in a local tour by Congressman Kiley. Congressman Kiley did a tour with the town of Truckee and then the PUD, really just as an opportunity to engage with our representatives on what some of the work and challenges we as a district face as a small public utility in the Sierra Nevada. We had originally anticipated a presentation here in this board with staff and Congressman Kiley's staff. As so often happens, the best intentions of a tour schedule that's laid out ahead of time, they got behind schedule a little bit. I'm guessing because they had some great presentations with the group in Portola and then the town of Truckee. So we got the Congressman Kiley about a half hour late through no fault of his own, but definitely we made a decision with their kind of request to bypass the presentation here at the board meeting and go directly out into the field and tour some of the facilities we had. So staff took Congressman Kiley and their team to a substation here locally. Also had an opportunity to look at some of the tree trimming and line clearing work that we've done, as well as some of the pump stations and new projects we have. It's a great opportunity. We appreciate Congressman Kiley including the PUD in the tour and continuing that relationship and communication and our challenges moving forward. And we will, I have 2 other updates. I apologize. The Friends of the Library, the PUD has been working collaboratively with the Friends of the Library, the town of Truckee, Rec and Park District on the new library project. As you can recall, we, as a district, participated in a lot line adjustment out at the Rec and Park facility to help consolidate some of the kind of oddly shaped parcels out there at the regional park. And the district, in partnership with Rec and Park, Truckee Sanitary District and Friends of the Library coordinated a lot line adjustment to create more usable parcels throughout that park campus. And so the next phase that Friends of the Library has been working with JK Architecture and the stakeholders to evaluate not just the original conceptual design, but actual architectural designs for the library and that footprint. They're currently evaluating 2 locations. One, the original option 1 was to locate the library on the newly kind of formed rec and park parcel that it included the 2.5 acres necessary for the library. They're evaluating currently right now an option number 2 because of some of the challenges that presented with parking. And so with working with JK Architecture and looking at the current layout of that park campus, where the parcels are, they're looking at an option 2 right now. And their board, Rec and Park, is evaluating or considering option number 2 at their next board meeting on July 25th. Depending upon what the outcome is with the management group of the project and Rec and Park, staff will likely come back to our board to potentially consider some adjustments to the easements out there. We currently have long-term lease agreements with Rec and Park for that parcels. Depending on where the final footprint of that library will end up, we may need to make some adjustments to the lease agreements. Staff will come back to the board for an item consideration in the coming months. Just wanted to give you a heads up that discussion is happening out there, just because of the evaluation of the parking impacts on the original footprint of the library. So more to come. It still continues to be a fantastic project in collaboration with multiple public agencies. With the new architectural review, the design's really exciting. Everyone's really excited about it. It's really determining what's the most beneficial location for the community as a whole. So more to come on that. Also, you heard Neil Kaufman talk about a couple of water projects. They're approaching completion, the new Pioneer Trail pump station and the 6170 Tank B, Tank 2, we haven't formally named it yet, but Tank B. Once those are completed, all of the testing's been completed, and we're ready to commission those. Staff would like to coordinate a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the board to participate in. I'll be working with District Council to make sure that ribbon-cutting ceremony is compliant with all the Brown Act requirements for meeting requirements. And so I'll be reaching out to you to look at what schedules work for the board as a whole, that we still need to have our normal meetings and all the business we need to take care of, looking for a date for a special meeting to agendize and have the board meet for that ribbon cutting ceremony. I think it's a great opportunity for the board to kind of put the blessing on some of the money at work for our ratepayers. And these are really the Pioneer Trail pump station and that additional storage at 6170 is probably one of the more significant projects in terms of infrastructure that the district has taken on the water utility side in many years. And it really enhances the reliability and efficiency of the water system as a whole. And so I think it's a great opportunity for the board. More to come. I'll reach out to you individually and we'll set up a schedule for that. I'll stop there.
Say, Brian, you or Jared, on this one-stop thing, what is the procedure on the one-stop? You just go to the machine and you shut it off and then turn it on again, or what, does it affect our system?
So typically, our system is designed with reclosers that if it senses a fault or potential fault, it opens the recloser, then closes it again, and we'll do that several times to ensure that either the fault clears or the fault's still there. During high wildfire season or high-risk wildfire season, they disable the recloser. It's a set point adjustment for the reclosers across the distribution system so that they don't open the circuit and reclose. It opens the circuit and stays open so that our staff can go out and inspect and make sure there's no longer a hazard there for the recloser to energize the circuit and potentially cause a fire. And so it's just a risk reduction procedure. In the winter, you want those reclosers to be in operation because often we get tree branches falling or some other trip that's just intermittent. And so the recloser opens up. Sometimes that fault or obstruction clears naturally on its own. The recloser closes, re-energizes, and we all move on with our day. All you see is a little flickering of the lights and everything stays normal. During high wildfire risk season, we don't want it to reclose because that hazard might still be there and trigger a fire. And so we're just putting that extra protection in there. What that means for our customers is that there's more likely to be an outage where that recloser would have reclosed and re-energized and everyone went along their way in the wintertime. In the summer, it stays open and we have to go out and inspect it. So it's probably more frequent outages and a little bit longer outages because we need to go out there and inspect.
So when we close these reclosers, they're, we close just a couple of them or one of them or, for a while? Or what, is that what we're doing now?
There's many of them. They're in strategic locations across our system. For the wildfire season, once we believe we're taking data from the Weather Service, from our local fire protection agencies, once we believe that we're in a weather condition and a fuels condition where wildfire risk is at a higher level, our staff, our team makes those adjustments to disable the reclosers so they stay open. And once the summer's over, usually late into the fall, and we have our first snowfall, our team will reset those back into normal operation so that they open and reclose as normal.
So those reclosers are all over the district.
Yeah, it works as a helping the district manage that risk more effectively.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you. All right, we have 2 items on the consent calendar tonight. Items number 8, on-call crane services, and number 9, execute a professional service contract for electrical engineering. Is there any public comment on the consent calendar tonight? All right, seeing none, any questions from the board? Nope. Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval of the consent calendar.
All second.
We have a motion and a second on the consent. Sarah, roll call, please.
Director Aguirre?
Yes.
Director Harris?
Yes.
Director Laliotis?
Yes.
Vice President Finn?
Yes.
President Binder?
Yes. Thank you. All right. Diving into action items tonight, we have number 10, consideration of closeout of the district pipeline replacement 2023 contract.
Good evening. Good evening. So this is action item number 10, closeout of the District Pipeline Replacement 2023 Contract A construction contract. In February of 2023, the board awarded the District Pipeline Replacement 2023 Contract A to Hanson Brothers Enterprises of Grass Valley. The project entailed replacement of about 4,600 feet of water main in the Glenshire area on the 4 streets listed here: Canterbury Lane, Courtenay Lane, Oxford Circle, and Wellington Way. Also included in the project was the replacement of a pressure reducing station on Rainbow Drive in the Prosser Lakeview area. The bid price from Hanson Brothers was just over $1.9 million. A 10% change order allowance of about $190,000 was established for a total authorization not to exceed $2.1 million. So Hanson Brothers completed the work in the Glenshire area in the fall of 2023. The pressure reducing station in Prosser Lakeview was postponed until 2024 due to some regulatory requirements from the Regional Water Quality Control Board. We essentially ran late into the season and we were concerned about the winter setting in. So the work in Prosser Lakeview was completed in May of this year. And the project is complete and should be accepted by the district. So the bid price from Hanson Brothers was $1,910,855.78. There were no change order requests on this project, and the contract is based on a unit price bid. When you go through a reconciliation of the bid versus actual quantities, this results in a credit of about $107,000 to the district. This credit basically, mainly results from lower amounts of rock excavation and pavement restoration than we had originally anticipated. So the final contract price is $1,804,009.62. So the recommendation before you this evening is to adopt Resolution 2024-12, accepting the District Pipeline Replacement 2023 Contract A as complete, and authorizing the filing of the Notice of Completion.
Great. Thank you, Neil. Is there any public comment on this district pipeline replacement project closeout? All right, seeing none? Any comments or questions from the board?
No, it's always nice to see it come in under what we budgeted.
Yeah.
So
Anything else? All right.
I'll move to adopt Resolution 2024-12, accepting the district pipeline replacement 2023 contract A is complete, and authorize filing the notice of completion.
Second.
Oh, we have a motion and a second. Thank you. All right, roll call. Yeah.
Director Aguirre?
Yes.
Director Harris?
Yes.
Director Laliotis?
Yes.
Vice President Finn?
Yes.
President Bender?
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, number 11, consideration of a reimbursement agreement for the water system facilities associated with the Tahoe Donner Downhill Ski Lodge project.
So yes, this is action item number 11. So the Tahoe Donner Association operates a downhill ski area located on Slalom Way within the Tahoe Donner subdivision. The district provides potable water and electric service to the base lodge at the ski area. And the existing base lodge structure was constructed in the early 1970s, and it is approaching the end of its useful life. As a matter of fact, it is at the end of its life. It's been torn down, and they are actively constructing its replacement as we speak.
Oh, okay.
So Tahoe Donner is undertaking a project to replace the existing base lodge with a new structure. Both the water and electrical utility service entrances to the structure will be relocated, and there's some significant grading modifications and replacement of the pavement in the vicinity of the structure. Got a couple of drawings here. This is the new site plan. And everything in gray here is areas, shaded gray is areas that are going to be repaved as part of the project. A couple of renderings of the new structure. It is significantly different than the old building for those that are familiar with it.
Kind of a picture in there.
I'm sorry?
It's a kind of a picture in there, elongated.
So the district owns and maintains the water distribution system throughout the Ski Bowl condominium complex. I'll get to a map here in a second. We have some existing water pipes that are in close proximity to the project site. The distribution system throughout the condominium complex is in poor condition and requires repeated repairs. This has been an ongoing problem, and in fact, back in August of 2021, the Board of Directors approved a contract with Sage Land Surveying to perform a utility survey within the complex so we could move forward with the design of a pipeline replacement project. That project is about, the drawings are about 75% complete right now. So here we kind of have an outline of the condominium complex as a whole. And here on the left where it says proposed building, that is the site of the old lodge, comma, the new one currently being replaced. But we do have piping throughout that entire area outlined in red. So the pipeline replacement project was actually originally planned for this summer. However, the district delayed the project to avoid conflict with Tahoe Donner's base lodge replacement. This delay did allow us to kind of refocus our efforts on replacement of the water pipes in Northwoods Boulevard in advance of the town of Truckee paving project, which is going to repave the Northwoods Loop next summer. So the town will be repaving Northwoods from Donner Pass Road to the flashing red later on this summer, and then they'll be doing the remainder of the loop next summer. So we're trying to get ahead of them to try and get some rotten pipe out of the ground beforehand. So we are currently looking at the pipeline replacement project in the condominium complex for the summer of 2026. So some of the replacement pipelines will be located within the areas that will be repaved as part of the Tahoe Donner project. That site plan I showed you before with the gray shaded area. District staff and Tahoe Donner representatives have been discussing the planned work for both projects, and it was agreed to have the Tahoe Donner contractor install about 455 feet of water pipeline in the areas that will be repaved by Tahoe Donner. And this will prevent the district from having to cut and replace brand-new asphalt that they're going to be putting down this fall. So here in this figure, we have an outline of the work we're talking about. The lines in blue show the existing water pipelines that are going to be replaced, and in red is the alignment for the new replacement pipelines.
Now, Neil, the distribution area, that's our job, our project, right? But they're doing the work up there, they have a contractor.
So we as the district own the water system throughout the complex.
All of it.
There are numerous meter boxes spread throughout. Each condominium unit up there is individually metered. So we own the fire hydrants, we own the distribution piping through the complex.
But they're replacing a lot of that, so that we're paying them to have it done, and we're not doing the work.
So the item before you this evening is a reimbursement agreement whereby the Tahoe Donner contractor would replace 455 feet of pipe, and we as the district would reimburse them for that work.
Okay.
That's
fine.
the item before you this evening.
All right.
So the Tahoe Donner contractor provided a price of $234 a linear foot for 8-inch mainline pipe. This is comparable to the bid price of 245 feet for our pipeline replacement 2024 project, which is currently ongoing. The total cost proposal from the Tahoe Donner contractor is just over $192,000. This includes the mainline pipe along with associated appurtenances such as valves, one fire hydrant, a couple of water services. It also includes a proportionate share of common costs such as mobilization, BMP implementation, and insurance. We are recommending a 10% change order allowance, so that would have a total authorization of $211,800.
That's what we're gonna have to pay them. That's our reimbursement, that's what we're voting on tonight.
So the cost proposal from the contractor is based on unit price. That totals the $192,520.76
Oh, I see.
that is outlined here. That's their proposal. We are recommending a 10% change order allowance, which would bring us to the 211,000. Pipeline replacement projects are a core component of the 10-year Water Department Capital Improvement Program. The Water Department does have sufficient funds to cover the cost of this project. And so the recommendation before you is to authorize the general manager to approve the reimbursement agreement between the district and the Tahoe Donner Association for pipeline replacement associated with the Tahoe Donner Downhill Ski Lodge project in substantially the same form as presented, pending final review by the district council.
One additional note on that, there's a place in front of you on the dais is the most recent version of that reimbursement agreement. We still need to finalize it between Tahoe Donner Association representatives, the district, and each of our legal counsels, but it's in substantially the form presented. There was an attachment to the original staff report last week that was an earlier version. This is the most recent revised reversion, likely to be the final version, but it's pending final approval. So in front of the board and for the public, there's also some copies at the table there. There hasn't been significant changes, just some changes to some of the kind of the, I don't know the right term I'm looking for, but some of the language in paragraph G and F in the contract.
Yeah, I was gonna just have a question. I don't like section 2, item F. It says, we shall make no request for revisions, modifications, or amendments, and we have to pay the cost estimate, and TDA has no obligation to implement that. So honestly, I don't like that at all. If we want to change our piping, and then they don't have to do it. So-
Agreement, we have the authority to inspect anything we want to inspect up there. So if we find anything that's really wrong,
Yeah.
we can still say our word, say our piece.
Mr. Counsel. Steve.
So that's wise of you to point that out. Those are provisions that Brian and I have reviewed and revised in the last draft that we sent back to Tahoe Donner.
Oh, okay.
And so in that provision, we've made some requested revisions that would allow us to make changes, that would allow us to have a say in change orders. And if we were not to approve a change order that affected our project or our costs, that we would have, in effect, a veto right over that. So we have some say there. And then subsection 2G, as presented to the district, would have required us to pay for the project even if it were not to be completed due to some reason. We understand that there may be reasons that might cause delays and whatnot, but at this point, we find it unacceptable to have to pay for a project that won't be completed. At some point, it's going to get completed. We think we ought to pay when it's completed. So those are revisions that we've made, and I believe Brian has sent back to Tahoe Donner, and I think we're just waiting to hear back from them and their council.
Okay. Great. Neil, you're all wrapped up with your initial?
Yeah, I'm open for questions at this point.
Got it. All right. Any public comment on this action item?
I just have a clarifying question. Can I ask that from here? I don't know if you're able to answer it or not. I'm curious from an end user perspective and answer as you, for the ski bowl condos at Tahoe Donner, as you are realigning the pipes and extending them, so upgrading and up to date, what is the experience from the end user? Will they see more pressure? Or I'm just, so then I'm just curious. Any improvements that you do that way?
Yeah, pressure typically is not impacted by pipeline replacement work. For the most part, pressure is strictly a function of elevation in terms of the location of a particular residence in relation to the water storage tank that serves that particular area. And we have numerous water storage tanks throughout town. So the pressure at a given location here in the skee-ball condominiums is, I don't want to say completely independent, but is mainly independent of, say, the pressure here at this building or the pressure at a given house out in Glenshire. The things that we do as part of a pipeline replacement project is we do typically, we have a minimum pipe size of 8-inch for all new water pipelines. That improves firefighting capabilities. In a lot of cases, a lot of the older mains are 6-inch and perhaps 4-inch. So with the larger main, we have the ability to move more water in a fire event. So that's something that will definitely, folks will benefit from. The other thing is a lot of these pipes are in very poor condition. They leak a lot. We have to do repeated repairs on these pipelines. So as we do a pipeline replacement project, all of that goes away. We can pretty much, sign it off on an area, and we're completely done with it, and we don't have to go back on an ongoing basis to perform repairs. And sometimes some of them are late at night or, on weekends or things that nobody really wants to deal with.
Great, thank you.
You might lose out on a natural spring that you thought was a natural spring. So.
We have had that occurrence, yes.
Yes.
One of the things that's also important with pipeline replacement projects is the reduction of water loss. And so reduction in water loss is also a reduction in energy use. And so Tahoe Donner customers up in the upper elevations are kind of dependent upon lift stations and energy use, pumping costs to get up in those higher elevations, only to be lost through leaks. If we can reduce that water loss, we can reduce the energy costs, and in long-term, reduce rates for our customers in the long term. And so not only in staffing costs for pipeline repairs, but also in energy conservation and water loss reduction.
Okay, thank you. Public comment. Check. All right. Tony, you want to kick us off? You're closest to the mic.
Sure, I'll move staff's recommendation.
Oh, wow. He's got a motion on the table, Joe, for,
And I'll
yep,
just gonna
action
say-
item number 11.
I second it then.
Oh, did you
I'm
just
just gonna
second
say
it?
really quick,
Okay.
nothing at all controversial or anything, just that this item just illustrates very clearly the common sense of aligning our projects and our timelines with things that are going on right now, how to save money, how to not, I'm glad this is just par for the course and we do this with regularity, so I appreciate it as far as a cost and time saving device for the district. That's all. Thank you.
I'll say something.
Okay.
Is that okay? And just for Courtney's benefit, coordinating this project with the lodge project, making sure that, the cart doesn't come before the horse, meaning that we can get these pipelines in when you guys are spending millions to redo that site, put new pavement down, put new utilities under the ground. It just doesn't make any sense to do that with 60-year-old pipelines underneath all that. So the coordination, the foresight and the coordination between the entities is really, in my opinion, one of the biggest benefits of this project, specifically for, for the association, because last thing we want to do is go tear up all this brand-new asphalt and all these brand-new, all the new grading and everything that was just done. So really the last benefit is really the coordination and not having to go back and disturb what you guys spent so much money on.
Tim, do you have any additional comments?
Yeah, just a quick one. When I worked for I worked for Tahoe Donner Association for many years, and I know when Dart Resorts put in the ski area, it was one of their first buildings that they put in, and there was a huge need to change it over. There was a time where there were homeowners that wanted to completely close it and just get rid of the ski area. But I'm happy to see that the community has rallied behind it to rebuild it. And I'm also happy to see that the Truckee Donner PUD is going to be upgrading our infrastructure underground to just make the new lodge that much better. So I can't wait to see what it's going to look like.
Great. Okay. We have a motion and a second. There we go. Roll call, please.
Director Aguirre?
Yes.
Director Harris?
Yes.
Director Laliotis?
Yes.
Vice President Finn?
Yes.
President Pender?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Off to action item number 12, revisions to District Code Title 24, post-retirement benefits.
I thought we was done with this.
As Tony would say, one more bite of the apple.
We have to, now we have to
It's a
finalize the whole thing.
By now.
4 years old or more.
I only have it on my.
Good evening, President Bender and members of the board. I am here tonight to present on the resolution to update District Code Title IV, post-retirement benefits. As you were just mentioning, we've discussed this several times in previous board meetings. This presentation is very much what you've already seen, so if it pleases the board, I can move straight to the new information rather than recapping the background that you've been presented several times.
I'm going to say thumbs up on that. Thank you.
So for the new information, at the June 5th board meeting, the board reviewed more in-depth details on the fiscal impacts associated with the eligibility of previously retired employees for the post-retirement benefit increases, and staff recommended two options for the board to consider. There was option A, which would have, the district would have drafted a resolution approving a revision to district code to limit the eligibility of newly negotiated employee group benefit to current regular employees or those that are retired after January 1st. Or the second option was to draft a resolution to make all retired employees part of that benefits adjustment, so even prior to January 1st, 2024. And then for the general manager to negotiate equivalent terms with local IBEW 1245. The board approved option B at June 5th board meeting. So the fiscal impact to this is the application of recently negotiated changes to the employee group benefits was not included in the district's 24-25 board-approved budget. As of January 1st, there are 48 retired former district employees actively receiving post-retirement benefits, including retired employees qualifying spouse and dependents. There are 88 participants receiving these benefits. The district's total cost of active participants in post-retirement benefits are as follows. For medical, it's $378,803. $1,000 total annual cost of current participants prior to the application of these improved increases. Adding these increases would increase this to $460,267, so an increase of $81,464, or equivalent to a 22% increase. Vision benefits, this benefit for 2023 was at $12,000. $243, and with the increase, it's estimated to go up to $16,943. This is an increase of $4,700, or an equivalent to a 38% increase. The application of recently negotiated increase to group benefits, the medical and vision, would result in an increase to the district's total estimated annual post-retirement benefit cost of approximately a little over $86,000. So staff's recommendation tonight is for the board to adopt Resolution 2024-13, revising District Code Title IV Personnel to make current regular employees and all retired employees not represented by MOU eligible for negotiated employee group benefit adjustments made effective January 1st, 2024. And B, authorize the general manager to negotiate equivalent terms with IBEW Local 1245 for previously retired employees represented by MOU in the form of a letter of agreement. I am open for questions.
Hey, look at that. Thank you. All right, any public comment on item number 12? Action item number 12 tonight. All right, no public comment. Okay. Board discussion. You're closest to the mic. Yeah.
I'll just do it quick. I mean, just in transparency, the public deserves to know why any of us make any given decision, especially when the board member's swimming against the current. I spoke at length about this during our last meeting. I'm not going to go into that sort of granular information. But I still oppose this revision to our code. In a nutshell, I believe it's an irresponsible financial decision that does not forward our mission and benefits a privileged few on the backs of our many current employees and ratepayers. I prefer to focus our spending on policies and programs that provide the most relief to the most people, with an emphasis on our most economically challenged constituents. And I will leave it there, since it's just for the public to know.
Got it. All right, Joe, any comments?
The only thing is, I thought we voted on this last time.
Okay.
We're waiting to see, if we were gonna get a resolution tonight and vote on a resolution, or what?
Tonight is the, updating the district code from the last board meeting, vote, decision. In a nutshell,
Is this for that retirement?
Correct.
The old retirement
yeah.
program? Is this revising that as we discussed?
Yes, that is what staff is proposing.
Okay, I don't see a resolution that says that anywhere.
Or it's,
I thought it was a resolution tonight to finalize it, because we were waiting for the resolution to come out.
We are approving a resolution tonight.
Okay, does that say anything about the
It's
Yeah.
in,
the employees that were retired previously?
as it's written, it is consistent with the board action from last month.
Okay. I read part of that. but
okay. So
didn't
you're
read it
good,
all.
Joe?
And I think I found the resolution for the 21 vote, or the 20 vote.
That's it, right there, 2024-13.
Yeah.
That's what Jillian's presenting for the post.
Is that tonight?
That's right now.
It's right now.
I don't think the dates jive, do they?
So just for clarification, that, and I think you have it, I think you have a clear understanding, just for
Okay,
the
I
public
see.
and the board.
I see it now, effective January 1st, 2024.
That's right. We're
That's what
going,
we're revising to that for the retirees.
The resolution this evening before you is to formally adopt the board's decision from June 5th that the board voted on. And so in order to change district code, we have to have the board adopt a resolution to make those edits. So the resolution before you tonight is consistent with the board's decision on June 5th, and it's just a formal process to formally change district code.
Okay. Got it.
all right. Tony?
I don't have anything further to add from last month.
Either do I. The only thing is I saw one small typo, and I think you probably saw it, so I just. Okay, but I respectfully disagree with Krista, that I believe that the employees and the retirees and the amount of time and effort and longtime employees that really depend on this, this benefit, and also, you know, recognizing that the cost of medical goes up and these are people on fixed incomes, that this is an opportunity for us to kind of make it right for everybody. And whatever happens after this, we'll keep an eye on it, but I'm happy to see this, this recommendation move through. So I'm going to move to, for the recommendation as presented by staff.
Hey, there you go. You just saved yourself 2 paragraphs.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please, Sarah.
Director Aguirre,
Yes for the motion.
Director Harris,
Yes.
Director Laliotis.
Yes.
Vice President Finn,
No.
President Bender.
My opinion hasn't changed, so no.
Thank you.
All right. Item 12, done. Thank you, Jillian. Okay, we have a workshop, item number 13, employees survey results.
And I am staying up here because I will be presenting this next item, number 13, workshop item on the 2024 employee survey results. I'll be presenting tonight with Adam Probolski from Probolski Research, who's joining us via Zoom. His organization conducted our survey this year. So I'll get us started with some background information and then turn it over to Adam to discuss this year's results. So since 2022, Probolski Research has conducted the district's employee satisfaction surveys. The surveys provide us feedback from staff on topics such as job satisfaction, work environment, training and development opportunities, resource pay, benefits, and much more. Survey results are shared with our staff and used by leadership to assist in the district strategies related to staff development and culture. Tonight's informational workshop will present the results of our 2024 employee survey, and with that, I will turn it over to Adam.
Oh, you're muted.
All
There we
right,
go.
thank you very much. I apologize for the sun. We enjoyed working on this project for the 4th year now, or the 3rd year now, and I'd love to just get right into the data because it's a pretty big presentation, maybe about 30 or so slides, down from the biggest one, the bigger one, which is about 100 or so. I will kind of go back to the methodology slide real quick and explain that we got about 49 respondents, 64% participation. It is down a little bit from previous years, and we have some strategies to try to get that back up next year. But I do want to call that out. It's a little bit of a difference, but still really high participation comparatively to other agencies. So you're in a strong place there. All right, going on to the first slide, first set of data. Agree or disagree is the way we're looking at this data, and it says I'm satisfied with my current job and the district. And you can see 86% agree, really strong numbers. And the other part of this is those numbers have improved. If you look to the top right there, there's a little bit of an uptick from 74% to 86%. People saying that they agree with this statement, and people who disagree went down. Strong numbers, really positive. One of the things I like to call out here at this point is this is not an academic exercise. We are not looking for 99% and A+. People just don't normally agree on things. So when you have 85 or 86% of them, it's a really, really strong place. We don't want to dismiss anyone, so throughout the survey, you can certainly see the people who are disagreeing, 6% of the employees. And so, certainly there's something there that can be improved potentially, but you're also probably never going to make everyone happy in any particular group. So I think that's worth pointing out. All right, moving on to the next slide, where we talk about I'm part of something meaningful. 84% agree with this statement, off just a tiny little bit, but really, really strong numbers. The other thing we'd like to look at in these slides is the massive delta between the people who agree and disagree. Not dismissing the disagree, but that, basically 8-to-1 or more difference is really, really significant. And I also call out the unsure throughout. I might just not feel like I have context for this. I may just show up for work and get my job done and get my check, and I might just be happy with that, and I might not feel it. You probably do. Massive adoption of people feeling like they've got the right mix in their life and work-life balance. No one saying they disagree. Next up, big number, 84% saying they agree I have the resources I need to do my job well. So similar numbers to last year, pretty much the same, only 12% disagreeing. So really a strong place to be there. Next slide, we've got 78% saying that I received the proper communication to do my job effectively. So there is a component there, 18% that feel like communications can improve, and that would probably also improve that number of 64 plus or so that have that express some concern over where the organization was going, but really strong numbers. Next up, we've got 88% agreeing that they're provided the training they need to fulfill the job and the responsibility. So again, pretty static from last year, actually static all along from the start of this survey at 88% agreeing and about 10% disagreeing. So really strong training and provided to your team. Next slide, 74% agreeing that Truckee-Donner Public Utility District provides an environment where creative ideas are encouraged. Again, one of those things that we see being sticky that people want to stick around when they feel like there's an environment that they can be creative and they can add value to the team. So really strong numbers there. Next up, we've got 82% agreeing that the culture at the district is caring and supportive. I like to say that your culture doesn't have to be caring and supportive. In workplaces, it's not necessarily normal to have a caring and supportive workplace. People tend to feel like they want to get a paycheck and they want the people who agree. In the next slide, we talk about what are the core values of the district. What do them mean the most to you? And you can see we stack in the gray 2022, 2023, and then the lightest color is 2024. You can see not much difference there, but you've got a growing interest and meaning for work-life balance, and we already know that you're doing a great job there, so that's great. Communication is a core value that they value and they think is important to them, and you're doing a good job there. And it's higher on the list than it was in the past year. You can see integrity, safety, accountability, other things fall off from there. But all of these are obviously core values. And at the top there, though, is that work-life balance that you're doing an amazing job at. Next up, we ask them, in their opinion, does the district effectively live up to their core values? Do you live up to your core values? 55% say yes. 16% say no, and you've got 29% who say they're unsure. Again, I point out, I may not be focused on your core values. I may be doing my work, getting it done, going home, and not really thinking about the culture and the values and the goals of the agency other than me getting my job done. And if you want to change that, you can certainly have greater engagement and try to change that. But if they're broadly happy, it might be okay if they're not thinking that you effectively live up to it because they don't know, because they're just not focused on it. Next up, we say as an employee of the district, what do you value the most? And we give them some options. We let them pick two of them. Not surprisingly, pay is number one. And benefits are number two. And then you do have this significant factor here of coworker environment and culture and work-life balance. I think the reason, though, we see work-life balance lower down on the scale is partly because pay and benefits are really high up there, and because they're already satisfied with work-life balance. It's already something that they've already told us they're happy with, so they didn't need to say it again. But really, pay and benefits are high on that list, but not too far behind is your culture. And then next up, we say, as an employee of the district, which of these benefits do you value the most? And we give them some to choose from. They get to choose two. Medical insurance is highest on the list, but retirement is right there. Is essentially is exactly the same in this survey, in this last year. you see big fall off for professional development, dental, life, things like that. So they're really focused on the medical and retirement, and they're essentially equal today. Next up, we ask awareness about the strategic plans and goals. 59% say yes, they're aware, a little bit off from the previous year. And you do have, again, 16% who say they are unsure. So they're just not focused on that. It's not either been communicated to them, or they just haven't looked at it because it's not important to them. I would still call 59% a strong majority, 2-to-1 differential between the yes and the no's, but maybe a place for improvement if you want to make that a priority. True or false, I've considered searching for a different job outside the district in the past 6 months. Different from the last survey where we said in the past month, so we put a longer time frame on it to capture potentially more people. So you can see, but the truth is that more people have said no, I'm not looking for a job, than yes. So, but you do have 41% who say they have looked for something outside the district. So just a sense of where people's attention is. Next up, how long do you plan to work for the district? If you look at the top there, we put a cap on 69% of people from 6 years to more than 20 years. So you've got, a big longevity. The vast majority, more than 2/3 of your employees, say they're going to be sticking around for a long time. Last survey, if you look at the bottom, that number was 74%. Was going to stick around for that kind of long period of time. So a little bit off from last year, but still really, really strong, 2/3 or more saying they're sticking around. Next is demographics. If we get to slide 30, just quickly to kind of let you see, the supervisor and not supervisor mix, and the different departments, and then the length of employment. So you got to get a feel for who it is that took your survey. I know that was a lot of data, and there's other data even behind that we can speak to. Happy to answer questions and help you improve next year.
I'll close out the presentation, then we can turn it over to questions. So there's no fiscal impact associated with this item. And staff's recommendation tonight is to receive this presentation and provide input to staff. And Adam or I are available for questions.
Great. Thank you very much. Good insight. Any public comment on the employee survey tonight? All right. Seeing none. Go to director comments, questions. Anybody?
No, I thought thank you very much for putting this all together. It's always very interesting to see how independent studies come on, because there's definitely ways to present the information and in order to support what you're looking to support. So I hope that you got the information that you're looking for. Things that popped out at me is that of the respondents, almost 70% have been here 5 years or less. So a lot of brand new employees here. And that only 49 employees participated, 64%, which I guess is okay. So it sounds like obviously a lot of the newbies are willing to share their opinions and everything. So I thought that was interesting.
Nice.
So thank you.
Yeah, one interesting thing, the ideas on the creative ideas questionnaire was kind of low, but then the creative environment survey question was kind of high. So that was kind of an odd, what's the word? Juxtaposition, maybe. Just that was a little surprising to me, but any insight on that, Adam? Or
I don't know. I mean, look, 74% agreeing that creative ideas are incurred. Is that the number you thought was strong too?
oh, so that was the number. Okay, so it was just off from the 90s we were seeing before, but it was still pretty high for the creative creative ideas. Okay.
Yeah, you have I think a great place there, and if you want to build off of that and make that a priority, you can. But you're in a strong place there.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah, I've got some.
Got it. Go ahead.
I agree with Director Harris that I would like to see more response. I don't know if there's a sweet spot as far as how often we take this survey, or, I mean, you led with, you have some strategies in mind for next year for increasing responses. So I will trust the professionals on that one, but I would love to see more, because this information is extremely valuable to me as a board member. We don't have that many windows into staff satisfaction, so I really depend on this information as a way to get that, and I think it's extremely valuable, you know, to give us an understanding of where we could improve. You know, I am, you know, because as a board member, we get more communications from the public than we do from staff for the most part, as far as, you know, how things are going in the PD. And when I hear rumors, which I have been in the community, this really helps me to address them with more confidence. So I would love to see these every year with more. I'm talking to you employees, we really want to know what's going on with you, how you're feeling, how we can do better for you. Because it's extremely important for the operations of this district, which means it's extremely important for everybody who lives in the town of Truckee, because that's, you know, it's foundational, right? And I'm just excited. Teamwork, creativity, and caring. We got really high response in all of those, and I love those things. So keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you for this.
And then, one other thought on, you know, where the district's going. You know, we spent a lot of time, we as the board, on the strategic plan, so, I don't know, just something to think about.
Things that we could improve on.
Yeah,
communicating our vision.
the big
to
picture,
Our,
yeah,
to our
yeah.
employees. To,
Yeah.
you know, I think we've become very outwardly focused. We're very focused on the community. And maybe we should turn inwards a little bit and try to share that vision a little more accurately and creatively with our staff.
I saw that one as, you know, we had a big push, right, strategic plan in 2022, 2023, and, you know, we were sort of, this past year, I just don't think we were as active with the strategic plan, just, you know. So I feel like that may have something to do with that particular slide. But I think in general, yeah, there's, you know, obviously there's some improvement that can be made in communications and communicate with employees the direction the district's heading, you know, more inclusion on those types of meetings and programs and discussing that with employees. But overall, I'm pleased to see the direction, you know, and as with Krista's input regarding, you know, what we hear in the community, you know, this helps to make sure that we're also seeing what's going on inside the organization, because we don't often get to see that. We only sit up here once a month, you know, for the most part. So it's hard to really understand how every employee is feeling. Obviously, this is 64%. We're going to work on trying to improve that number, but it is a good number, in my opinion, and very good results. And I like the way that the core values were sort of rated by importance.
Yeah.
And that, you know, interesting that timeliness was sort of, you know,
At the
the
bottom.
redheaded stepchild.
You like
So,
that, Mom, now?
Safety was in the middle, not number one.
Yeah, so just interesting to see, you know, how people look at the core values individually, and what the importance is of them to them, you know, on that level. So that was kind of curious to see that number. But yeah, I think the obvious takeaways for me were, you know, I think some improved internal communications, and continuing to work on, you know, just employee satisfaction overall.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say that, you know, it's nice to have an independent person come in and present it and, take all the stats and everything and all the questionnaires. And I'm hoping that actually a lot of this is not a super surprise to the actual managers and supervisors, and that they are able to kind of keep a tab on the kind of the feelings of what's going on with management and what's going on at the district, and so that employees are able to share openly rather than having to do it anonymously. That everybody can kind of share in trying to create the good environment that is everybody's capable of having here.
Yeah, but I do think it's valuable to have an opportunity anonymously too, because it can give you freedom to say whatever you need to say.
But it gets
It's hard to
expensive. I mean,
do.
it gets expensive. I mean, it's to bring in an outside person. So it's the balance of cost versus, what you're trying to accomplish. So I think there's definite time and place for it.
Again, I really value this information. I think it is invaluable to me. And we had a question about meaningful, if employees felt like they were part of something meaningful here at the district. And I just want to point out that you may not feel it, but it is. What you do is extremely meaningful. There's just no, I sit on this board because I think this is the most important district in the town. We do the most important work. It is incredibly meaningful, and I thank you for doing it.
Excellent. Nice. Any other thoughts?
On this side too?
Yeah.
Well, this man put an effort in this, and he's got all the information. And you said that we're down this year than we were last year in percentage?
In participation.
And yeah, whatever you said is right.
Yes.
And so, but we were between the 85, 90 area, and I think that's pretty good, even if we didn't have the participation.
Yeah, the numbers are very strong, and I think there's always that tendency to want to have better and have bigger, but you're in a very strong place.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Okay, well, you figure that maybe next year will be up from this year. So,
Look, if you give your staff the resources, maybe you get some money to improve communications and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Break more budget, maybe you get to have bigger numbers.
more budget, that's what we need.
right.
Thank you very much.
Participating in your.
I'm glad we have these surveys.
Yep, it's good. Excellent. All right, we had asked for public comment, got director questions. Excellent presentation. Good to hear all this. So thank you very much, Adam. Jillian, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We've got some routine business tonight. We're wrapping it up together, the treasurer's report for July 2024. It includes the fund balances for the month of April 2024 and the disbursements for the month of May 2024. Any public comment on routine business and the numbers? Nope. Questions, comments from the board, or a motion?
I'll move to approve the treasurer's report for July 2024.
All right.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Director Aguirre?
Yes.
Director Harris?
Yes.
Director Laliotis?
Yes.
Vice President Finn?
Yes.
President Bender?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we've got some minutes from June 5th, 2024.
Maybe we paid the bills?
We just paid the bills that have already been paid, Joe.
Oh, good. That have already been paid, yes.
Yes. All right, any input on the public input for the meeting minutes from last month? Gosh, I can't get that one out. All right, any comments from the board on the minutes? Is there a motion?
I'll move that we approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024.
Excellent.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Director Aguirre?
Yes.
Director Harris? Director Laliotis?
Yes.
Vice President Finn?
Yes.
President Binder?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, we're on to, we got item 16. Thank you, everyone. So now we have closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2. Conference with legal counsel, exposure to litigation, 3 cases. All right. Thank you, everyone. And have a good night.
Thank you.